Hello, happy Thursday to everybody. I hope you are all happy and warm and well. We've got a really great Instagram Live planned today because we're going to be talking to the brilliant nutritional therapist, Eve Kalinik, all about gut health and microbiome, supporting the immune system, immune support as we age, all of that. I've got a new recipe that I'm going to share with you. And we're going to be talking about Bimuno in particular. I know many of you take this. We've got a great Liz Loves deal, by the way, on Bimuno. If you want to just make a note of it, because this is unique to us, it's going to save you up to 34%. Yeah, that's over a third off. Amazing, amazing with Liz Loves. You need to go to bimuno.com/Liz Loves. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But this is going to be a really, really good chat all about microbiome, how to support it, why the immune system is so important, particularly all the year round, not just when it's cold. Is it cold with you? Cold but bright, maybe. Sun is shining in the West Country, so sending hearts. Lovely to see you all. Where are you all? Let me know. Nice to see you. Lots of hearts coming back. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to add Lainey here because she can hop on and perhaps answer any questions for Earle Wellbeing. So there you go. Just added you, my lovely. And then let us join in with Eve. I was actually having a good look around her Instagram and her website earlier today. Very, very interesting indeed. She is so knowledgeable about all of this, so I am really excited and looking forward to chatting. Hi from Norwich, hi from Guernsey. Hi Eve.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Yeah, really well, thank you. I was just saying, I was just having a good snoop around your really lovely website earlier.
Oh, thank you.
And you know, I did something today that I have never done. So this is the first, thanks to you. I got my Bimuno.
Oh, yeah.
And I added it to my cooking because you've got a recipe for this really great, delicious soup, which I'm going to have after my live, for my lunch. I don't know if you can see it. I don't want to tip it up.
Oh, amazing. The bean soup. I love it.
Yeah.
Soup.
Oh, my goodness. This has got beans and leeks and cabbage, cavolo nero. It's got a little bit of tomato puree. I mean, amazing. It smells phenomenal. And you actually you advocate putting a sachet of Bimuno in the cooking recipe.
Well, in that one, to be perfectly honest, we haven't tried it, but there is another recipe that I've created for Bimuno that is a porridge one, and it worked really well in that. So, but you can just have it alongside.
You can actually heat this. It doesn't matter. You can.
Yeah, heating's not going to have an impact, no. So yeah, you can add it in if you want. I mean, it tastes nice. I like the taste of the sachet, so it's fine. But I'm not sure in the soup, maybe not. But
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I put it in, and it seems to taste absolutely delicious. So let's talk a little bit about you and your background, because you've written a great book on gut health, and that's your focus, isn't it?
Yes. So actually, I have two books on gut health. The first one came out in 2017, and that was "Be Good to Your Gut." And the second one, Happy Gut, Happy Mind, came out in 2020, which was more focused on the gut-brain connection. Because as you know, there's so much more coming out around that and continuing to develop, which is super exciting. So yeah, gut health is definitely my thing. And I love obviously what the guys are doing at Bimuno in terms of their kind of clinical research and data and the fact that it's all kind of scientifically proven. I think that's really important because there's a lot out there, isn't there, around gut health. I think it can be quite, very
it can be overwhelming, and it can be really expensive, and you think, actually, you know, if I am going to take something, I want to take the thing that's really going to work, is going to be supportive. I mentioned in the intro that we would talk about immune system support and immune function. Yeah. Can you chat through the link between gut health? Because I think, you know, so many of us, when we think about gut health, we think about digestive issues, you know, IBS, IBD, and, you know, we know that Bimuno can help with all of that. But what's the link then between gut health and staying well as we're surrounded by all the, you know, cough and cold and flu bugs at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting one. And I think for a lot of people, they kind of focus, everybody talks about vitamin C, and I'm not like downplaying vitamin C because obviously it's an amazing nutrient, but I do think people miss such a big part of what supports our immune system, and that is essentially our gut health, because a lot of people are really surprised to know that like 70 to 80% of our immune system is located in our gut, and it's largely managed by all of the microbes that live in our gut, called the gut microbiome. So if we don't have a strong microbiome, where it will impact on our immune system functioning. And so looking after our gut health has got to be such a prime focus when it comes to having a healthy immune system. And I do think in some ways for many, many years, and actually I think we kind of got out of the pattern of like bugs are bad and like spraying everything with antibacterials and, you know, lots of antibiotics and all of that. But then obviously with COVID, I think people then started going, oh no, now I do need to like kill everything. But actually most of the bugs that we have like inside of us, and actually, you know, are really, really important. In fact, they're crucial for our overall health and well-being and our immune system functioning. So we don't want to sterile, is the word to use, environment. We need to expose ourselves to the good types of bugs to kind of help our gut flourish and our immune system flourish and be healthy and strong. So yeah, I think it's quite interesting for people to understand that when they're talking about immune system functioning. Yeah,
absolutely. It's getting the right balance, isn't it? I remember I did a podcast with Ron Daniels, who he's a doctor. In fact, he runs an intensive care unit in the NHS. I think Birmingham is his hospital. And he's also founded the Sepsis Trust. So talking about the role of, you know, bacteria and sepsis and antibiotic resistance. And he was saying, you know, please stop using hand sanitizer, because you know, you're just killing everything and setting yourself up for antibiotic resistance. Soap and water, you know, wash your hands. That's great. But, you know, bleaching everything is not the answer. And we've kind of, I think, hopefully we're coming back to realize that we need to support good bugs. And if we support them, then they'll support us. Yeah. Yeah.
And nourishing those good bugs from the inside and out. So using, you know, food as the prime source for that. So using, you know, having lots of fiber in our diet and diverse amounts of fiber that feed all different types of good bugs in our gut, and minimizing, you know, the ultra processed foods in our diet. You know, I'm also a realist. Like, you know, there is no perfect diet, and you know, we live in a modern world. The reality is we are going to be exposed to these ultra processed foods from time to time, but the more we can minimize them, the better, because we do know now with countless studies and data that a lot of these ultra processed foods and the chemicals included in them do have a kind of a damaging effect on our microbiome. So if we can get more if we can get more plants in, like the soup that you're eating.
I have to say, you know, excuse me from having a sip, but the smell, I wish you could smell it through here. It's so nourishing, honestly, seriously. Go to, I think it was, did I find it on Bimuno's website or your website? Anyway.
It's on Bimuno,
I followed the link, and it's, you know, the beans, for example, brilliant prebiotic fibre, aren't they, to feed good gut bugs, and obviously the greens and the leeks, prebiotic fibre in all those allium families, carrots and not carrots, leeks and onions and garlic, all of that. Let's talk a little bit about the, if I can say this correctly, galacto-oligosaccharides. Have I said that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so that's the good stuff. That's the food, isn't it, basically, for our bugs that's in Bimuno. Yes. What exactly is it? I mean, it sounds very complicated, and why is it so good for our immune system and our good gut bugs, basically?
Yeah, so it is a type of prebiotic that we do find in, you know, we can find that in certain foods, but that particular one has been scientifically proven through data and research that Bimuno have conducted with, you know, the University of Reading to show that particular type of probiotic does have those gut supportive benefits. So, you know, you are taking in something that has been, like I said, clinically proven. What's really interesting about, and that is really important, because a lot of supplements out there, particularly in the gut health sphere, I mean, obviously I have a clinical practice as well, and I work with clients one-on-one, and they come in with bags and bags of supplements and all such things that, you know, have no independent clinical data, and I think it's really important. But where this particular supplement, which is the immunity one, which I've also got here as well, has added benefits, is that it does include other key vitamins and minerals that we need to support our immune system. So it has vitamin C in it, it has D, and vitamin and zinc in it, and these are all really important. So we do need to make sure that we have these nutrients as well. So it has a kind of double whammy effect in that, like, you're supporting, like I said, the core of the immune system, because that's where our gut, our gut is an integral part of that. And so by using things like prebiotics that are included in this, that helps to support our immune system from a gut perspective. But then we've also got those added nutrients in there as well. So this, it really is about that whole kind of like flipping that, I guess, the hygiene hypothesis on its head, and enriching the bugs rather than doing things to kind of strip that in a way. So I have
to say, I know this is relatively new, isn't it, for Bimuno? I am seriously impressed with it, because I think the community here has obviously heard about Bimuno for a long time, and we've had scientists on talking about it in the research studies, and about how the prebiotic galacto-oligosaccharides are feeding our gut bacteria, and that's all really good. But to be able to combine it with the 3 really key things to support the immune system, the vitamin D3, which we know is just so important, the vitamin C, which you talked about earlier, and the zinc. I think zinc is sometimes, we kind of forget about zinc. We kind of overlook it, but it's absolutely crucial, isn't it, for our immune system?
Definitely. And I would say as well, it's one of the nutrients that is can quite easily be depleted or slightly deficient in the diet. So it can be quite hard to always meet our nutritional needs, particularly if we're following certain types of diet patterns. It can be even harder to get enough zinc in the diet. So I think that one is really important. And, vitamin D we obviously get from, well, not obviously, we get vitamin D, or particularly D3, we actually make ourselves, but we need exposure to sunlight in order to do that. And obviously living in the UK, where even in the middle of summer, a lot of us can be not getting that sufficient amounts of sunlight, then we can, again, it can be quite easy. And vitamin D is one that a lot of us are deficient in and we don't even realise. And there's so much research around that, and it's crucial role in supporting our immune system.
In everything. I was looking, I forget, one of the newspapers yesterday, there was a study published linking low levels of vitamin D with a higher risk of Alzheimer's.
Oh yeah, I mean it's linked to so many things.
Every day there's a new study, isn't there, saying, please make sure that you've got plenty of vitamin D. And let's talk about the dietary sources of zinc, because you say that some people might be particularly at risk. What are the richest foods for zinc?
Well, oysters are actually one of the highest, but most of us are not going out and eating a bunch of oysters, are we? But no, shellfish generally is quite a good source of zinc, and things like I'm a fan of organic grass-fed meat in the diet, so some red meat is high in zinc as well. But I think with a lot of people trying to kind of, it's hard to say, do better with their diet, they want to like increase more plants, which is obviously a really good thing, but then maybe not necessarily getting enough of some of those other foods. Like I said, they're quite niche foods. I mean, you can get some in things like pumpkin seeds, but you need to eat a lot of that to get the same amount. So, shellfish.
And then there's always that question about phytates as well, isn't there, in a lot of the plants that are bound up with the nutrients, so they're not as absorbable. So it's a very complex, long discussion that we can have about bioavailability and how you best get the nutrients. It always makes me smile when people say, oh, but parsley is so rich, it's the richest plant of vitamin C and whatever, and you go, per 100 grams. But if you've got any idea of what 100 grams of parsley looks like, I mean, you're never going to eat that. It would overflow this bowl of raw parsley, because it's obviously very light.
Yes,
so, the tiny sprinkle that you put on your food, great, little bit of vitamin C, but even though it's very rich, you're not actually getting that much.
Yeah, and I think with vitamin C, that's an interesting nutrient as well, because people want to go and take whacking great dosages of vitamin C, but actually you don't need loads of it. I mean, our body doesn't actually hold vitamin C very well, actually at all. I mean, tiny amounts in our adrenal glands, but most of it we're peeing out. So you know, you're better off having regular amounts of that through the day, like small and often. So I mean, yeah, you're right. You need to eat a lot of parsley, but you could get, you know, you get vitamin C in all the leafy greens, and that's why kind of the kale I add in at the end, because vitamin C is also very subject to heat. So heat does destroy it. So you don't want to really cook a lot of the vitamin C rich foods, but things like berries are really great, and you can even have them frozen. I mean, like, I'm also like mindful people don't want to like waste money. Spinach is another one that's also good frozen. It's also high in vitamin C, and avocados is one. I mean, I think we do need to curb it a bit on our avocado loving, because I think, you know, talking about kind of sustainability and carbon footprinting, but it is actually one that people don't realise is high in vitamin C.
It's high in vitamin C. It's also high in fibre, which a lot of people don't also think. And I always make sure that I buy my avocados from Spain.
Spain, yeah, exactly.
I try and at least reduce, you know, the footprint. But I agree with you. I think, you know, South American, and then you get into the whole kind of drug cartel, and I don't know if anybody's watched.
It's a murky
series on Netflix is really scary. I just want to pick up with you and ask you a question while I've got you, talking about spinach and kale and things, and about oxalic acid, because I'm not a fan of spinach. You know, I rarely eat it because of oxalic acid and you know, having a build-up of oxalates. You know, I prefer to have things like cabbage and Brussels sprouts and things like that. What's your take on it?
Well, I think, look, it depends on, and this is where nutrition gets like massively personalised, because it really depends on somebody's own, like, you know, constitution and what they feel works better for them. I mean, for some people, they have no problems with having oxalates in the diet. So, you know, I don't, and again, it's about the overall load of that, and in the context of a greater eating pattern. Do you know what I mean? So why, and my question would be kind of, why do you avoid the oxalates really? Is it just that you find that when you eat them, they don't agree with you, or?
Yeah, I find that they are, for me, a bit inflammatory. And also I've looked at studies to blocking calcium absorption and interfering with the uptake of other minerals, a bit like phytates.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's about overall load. If you're having a lot of oxalate-rich foods in the diet, it's just too much. It's a bit like when people talk to me about gluten. I'm like, you probably don't have a problem with gluten, but if you're eating it breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, like maybe it's just the overall load. So I think it's more about like eating patterns really, because there's a lot of foods that do have the oxalates that are also highly nutritious as well. So it's kind of like balancing out and taking into consideration people's personalization, I think. Is really important. Yeah.
I think, you know, I think it was funny looking at the whole kind of supplement journey, because I started writing about nutrition and supplements 35 years ago.
Yeah, you're a pioneer.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know, it's been a long time. And you know, back in the day, you know, I just thought, oh my goodness, people started producing food supplements and vitamins. It was like, oh my gosh, yes, all these nutritionists, it was all amazing, and let's take everything. I then swung massively away from it and became a real foodie warrior. And it was all about sustainability and eating organic and eating seasonally and getting everything from food, and, you know, forget supplements, they don't work. I've now come back. I guess my pendulum has kind of gone from one end to the other, is kind of now in the middle. And I don't routinely take a general multivitamin or mineral, because I do try and eat really well and get it from food. But there are certain specific things that I know I'm not getting from my diet. You know, like the D3, like the zinc, like the galacto-oligosaccharides, the prebiotics. You know, this is where I think it's all become so interesting. It's not just about, oh, let's just take a synthetic multivitamin and hope for the best. It's being really good with diet, relying on food first, but then topping up those little gaps that help us to live well for longer, I think, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, supplements are by their name, they're there to supplement, but they will never be like a replacement for a whole foods diet. I think it's really hard for people though, because they read things and then they go, oh, well, like gluten's bad for me and dairy's bad for me and I can't have this and I can't have oxalates. And then you end up with such a narrow diet. So I think it can be quite kind of, the whole thing can be quite confusing. But I think in a nutshell, you know, allergies aside and ethical consider, you know, some people have ethics around certain things. You know, if you can eat as much in terms of whole foods, you're not going to go that far wrong and just get a lot of diversity. But then I do think that, like you said, supplements can be really game changing, but less is more. I mean, I do see a lot of clients with like bags and bags, and half of which is contradicting each other. They've gone one place and then gone to another place, and you know, like buying things, and it's really, really expensive as well, because if you are buying supplements, because a lot of them don't work for a start, and I never really use multivitamins because actually I think that's a waste of time and money. So I think there's a lot of that whole, it's a bit of a wild west, and I think less is more. I mean, for instance, in Bimuno, there's no way you're going to be able to physically eat that amount of prebiotics, and if you did, you'd be so gassy and bloated that you definitely wouldn't be thanking either of us. So, you know, sometimes they can be like literally game changing in that way, but I think it is definitely, I agree, less is more. And I think people do focus on diet, particularly with the immune system as well. Like, you know, there are other things that compromise our immune system, and it's not just about what we're eating. So if we're not sleeping, you could have the perfect diet, and if you're literally getting 2 hours sleep a night and you're constantly on devices and triggering and messing up all those circadian rhythms, if you're not going, like, you know, having that exposure to like movement and all of that, that's just in itself gonna, you know, really impact on how your immune system's functioning. So diet is one piece of the pie. I know as a nutritionist I should be more biased, but I am like literally there's so much other things.
What you're saying is right, and I'm just going to pick up on Lorraine's point here about, you know, why we're saying multivitamins are a waste of money. And I think what we're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, Eve, is that the synthetic, there are lots of different types of vitamins. For example, you can make them synthetically, you can obtain them through food. The ones that are through food tend to be more expensive, but they're much more bioavailable because they're wrapped up in all sorts of other nutrients that help the body absorb them. Cheap synthetic vitamin and mineral supplements with low levels of lots of these different synthetic nutrients are just not really going to do anything within the body. You're much better off getting a wide variety of nutrients from your food, from eating really well, but then topping up the specific ones that you need, because either you're on a restricted diet and you're not having, you know, vitamin D3 because you're not eating animal produce, or, you know, you're not eating eggs, you're not getting choline, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, just really being quite forensic about it. And I think what I love about these lives is hopefully we're giving good information that everyone can then go away and think about it and maybe do some research and think, well, actually, what am I eating? And what could I be lacking? You know, have I got enough B12? Am I getting enough vitamin D? Where is my zinc coming from? You know, how am I getting my prebiotic fiber to support my gut? Definitely. That's, I think, much more important and impactful than just going, oh, here's a bog standard vitamin mineral supplement. I'm just going to, you know, chomp that down and forget about it for the rest of the day. Because that, I think, is perhaps not going to do the trick, is it?
No, but I totally get why people would do it, because it is like, oh, you know, that's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like, it feels like an insurance policy, but at the same time, it's not really, because most often you're just paying for expensive poo, because like you said, there's the bioavailability side of it. So you're not like a lot of them, I mean, again, like the supplement market is so huge, but like a lot of the generic multivitamins, you know, the types of compounds that they're using in there aren't actually easily absorbed by the body. So you're not even getting that. And then the dosages are so small on each of those things, because otherwise the pill would be absolutely enormous for us to swallow. So negligible, it's not going to even do anything. So I don't, and I think definitely less is more supplements, and I like that kind of use of phrase of forensic. And if if you've got access, or, you know, you can save a lot of money. I mean, I'm not just promoting nutritional therapy services here, but if you can do that, it can save you a lot of money in the long run, to like have somebody look objectively at what you're eating and doing, because it's hard for us to work on ourselves when we're in ourselves, and that's why we get definitely, I mean, even me, I'm sure you do as well. You get things through your feed, and even me knowing all that I know about nutrition, and I've got a lot more I need to know, but I can definitely feel like I'm going down some rabbit hole with something, and then feel like I need it. So I know that there's a bombardment of marketing and all of this stuff that we have to constantly kind
You've
of
got
push
to be
back
really, really discerning
against.
and do the research. And what I love here is that hopefully we can be a safe and trusted space, you know, with research-backed good evidence. Before we go, Eve, can I just touch very briefly on the galacto-oligosaccharides, because that's such a long word and it's unique to Bimuno here in these proven quantities. What exactly are they and what are they going to do? Because we've obviously talked about the other immune supporting nutrients, but the galacto-oligosaccharides, they're kind of the key, aren't they?
Yeah, so we did kind of touch on this a bit earlier, but yeah, they are the kind of, that's the prebiotic element. So in the original Bimuno, because obviously they've got the two now, it literally just contains that. And that's the one that's been clinically proven, that's got all of this like independent clinical trials around it. And that is the prebiotic part of the supplement. So prebiotic essentially means feeding the microbes in our gut, because I think a lot of people get confused between pro and prebiotics. Probiotics are a means of delivering microbes into the gut, and prebiotics are a way to feed your existing microbiome. And personally, the more and more that I understand, and obviously I'm in the gut health area, that's my specialised area of nutrition, it's more about how do we enrich our existing microbiome rather than trying to dump a lot of stuff in there, because often, again, and depending on the probiotic, they don't always stick around, those microbes that we just through probiotics. So the more we can nurture, it's a bit like a garden. I kind of use that as an analogy, so that the GOS is like the fertilizer in your gut garden, and all the microbes are like the seed, you know, that's what we want to kind of feed. So if you think about it in that way, it's more about nurturing your own garden by using this fertilizer in a supplement form.
Love it. Eve, really great to chat with you. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your time. We really appreciate it. And I'll pop the links on the caption here so that people can message you and get in touch with Bimuno as well. But it's been really lovely to chat. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye-bye. So fabulous. I mean, I love Eve's analogy there about fertilizing the garden. And that's exactly what these little sachets are doing. And talk about value for money. So if you just want to try it once, then we've got the Liz Loves code, which gives you 10% off. But if you use it for their subscriptions, which I know you're genuinely going to want to do, I have a subscription and I use it for my family as well, because it's just such a simple no-brainer, really. It's one of those things that I really do genuinely rely on. You can get 34% off. So that's over a third. That's really, really good. And you have to use our unique link for that. It's bimuno.com/Liz Loves. Okay, bimuno.com/Liz Loves. Take out the subscription, get the 34% off. If you want to cancel the subscription, then you can. You've still saved your money. So anyway, that's what I would suggest doing. I love it because it's got those galacto-oligosaccharides to feed our gut bugs. Plus, we're giving ourselves the vitamin D3, the vitamin C, and the zinc. Really, really important. And actually, do you know, before I go, it was interesting what we were talking about there about absorption and bioavailability of nutrients. Because if you were listening, if you were watching the other day with Andy from Better You, so we talked about things like the B complex. And again, B vitamins are something that many of us may be lacking in, particularly B12 if you're a plant-based or veggie. This, what I love about their sprays, is that when you take them, they're pill-free for a start. So they don't go into the digestive tract to be broken down and then used through the body. They go straight into the system. So they are highly bioavailable. So if you're looking for bang for your buck, in terms of what's going to work, then the sprays are really, really good. So I love it. And these little plastic containers, by the way, are post-marine plastic. So it's plastic that's been taken out of the ocean and recycled and renewed, which is really clever. There's a whole thing on their website actually about it. So do go and check that out. Anyway, Better You, lots of great things. Also vitamin D3 sprays with the K2, which I also take. So I take that as well as my Bimuno. and iron and all sorts of other things. So, and magnesium, of course, we had a really great chat, didn't we, about the magnesium. So that is 15% off with Liz Loves. Also, I know in terms of supplements, lots of you are loving Ingenious Beauty. This is something else that I take. Don't take random multivitamins, but I do take my collagen. So this is the one that's encapsulated, and it's got astaxanthin, super powerful antioxidant, and hyaluronic acid, great for joints and for connective tissue as well as for skin. I take these every single day without fail. And I either take these, which are the blue ones for beauty, that's their original one, or I take the ones that come with the yellow cap, which is the fitness ones, which I'm taking at the moment. I kind of move between the two, to be honest. And the fitness ones have got the Chinese herbs in, which help with muscle recovery. So if you're working out a bit more, then they've been shown to help with endurance and all of that. Last but not least, I should just say, brand new edition of the magazine, Liz Earle Wellbeing magazine, for a better second half. So all those lovely things that we want to talk about as we age, promoting longevity. This is the beauty issue. Absolutely genius. I love it. I've got such a great editor, Ellie. Big shout out to you, who's also our beauty editor. And it's just full of so much really, really good stuff. And if you have yet to subscribe, just a quick tip. There is a brilliant offer, again, in association with Better You. We talked about this, actually. This I have just been trying, and it's their Lights Out Nightly Oral Spray, and it contains something called 5-HTP, which you may have heard us talk about. And 5-HTP is the precursor to serotonin and melatonin, which helps us sleep better. Also contains lemon balm and passion flower. Now, this is new for me. And I have taken this. This is actually free with the subscription, magazine subscription, which is why I'm particularly mentioning it now before I go. It's about £20 worth of value. You get your Liz Loves discount if you want to buy it separately, or if you'd like it free, just take a subscription to the magazine, okay? But I squirted this before bed, again, on the side of my cheek. Helps keep you calm, so it's not going to send me to sleep right now, which is a good thing, because I've got a whole day's work ahead of me. But the last 2 nights I've used this before bed, I have had possibly the soundest night's sleep that I've had in months. Now, that may be coincidence, it's anecdotal evidence, but I'm impressed. So I'm going to continue using it. So Andy, if you're watching, I know you were saying it's one of your favourite supplements. 5-HTP, have a look at it. Very, very interesting. Anyway, I know lots of you have issues with sleep at the moment. I did a little thing on my personal Instagram this morning about sleep with a few hints and tips, and I should probably add in 5-HTP. But if you want to try that free, then you've got that with your subscription to the magazine, or you just go to betteryou.com, use your Liz Loves, and you get your 15% off. Anyway, that is it for today. I am going to be back with you live next Tuesday. Thank you for all your hearts. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Tomorrow is Friday, which means there's a free edition of the newsletter, which will come into your inbox if you're subscribed. Do subscribe. It's completely free. It's got lots of lovely links to recipes and competitions and discount codes and podcasts and all of that. So, but you have to be on the list in order to get it. So if you'd like it, just hop over to the website and put your name on the list. Also, tomorrow being Friday means there is a brand new episode of the Liz Earle Wellbeing Show podcast that will go live tomorrow as well. So don't forget to tune into that, and do let me know what you think. You can always leave me a comment. I don't do direct message because I get overloaded, but I do reply to comments as much as I can. Anyway, have a lovely rest of the day. Thanks, Pen. Thanks so much. Thank you for listening. Thanks, Bimuno. Thanks for being with us. See you very soon. Thank you. Lots of love. Bye.